I'm gonna get hyped up. Okay, I'm hyped up. What's up, everybody? This is week 5 of the New Leaf podcast, and I'm joined today once again by, well, myself, of course, but also my 3 devilishly handsome co-hosts, Christian, and Tyler and Tanner.
What's up?
What's up?
All right, you guys were like in unison almost.
You know, that's how we roll. You know, just a little bit of in unison. We also do acapella sometimes. Just kidding. But
this week we got an interesting topic for you, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But it's kind of a hot topic in the media right now. It has been for a little while, but I'm not going to tell you what it is until we get to it. So, but first, Christian, why don't you start off with telling us about your week?
All right. Well, last week was not the best week. It didn't start off very good. And I'm going to tell you a story. I don't know if I told you guys this, but the past 3 weeks I've been working overnight at my job. So this past week I changed back to a normal schedule where I go in at 4 in the morning. So I was already tired. It was hard for me to get sleep Sunday night. So I was getting up. I'm driving down the road to work. Now I only live like 10 minutes away from work, and I would consider the town I live in isn't like a huge town, but I'd consider it fairly large. So as I'm driving down this 4-lane road through the middle of town to go to Lowe's, I don't expect 4 deer to be running across the street at 3:50 in the morning. So it surprised me. So I slammed on my brakes. I just barely stopped short of one, just running head on into it. But the last one in the line just slams right into the side of my car. So I get to work, and I go to open my door to get out, and my door won't open. It won't open all the way. So I'm like, great. So I have to climb out of my passenger side. I go around, and I kind of look at the door. I don't really notice anything really messed up with it, but I had to go to work and do my job, so... when I come back out on my lunch break, I'm taking a look at it, and the deer bent the front panel in just barely enough to where the door hits it, and when it's trying to open, it doesn't allow it to open. So I had to sit there for probably 20 minutes with screwdrivers trying to pry the little metal thing out so my door would actually open. But that did not put me into the greatest mood this week, and I've been tired all week from that transition in the schedule, so I didn't go to the gym much this week, but this week I'm rested up, ready to get back into it. A couple of things that I did besides that is I played a little bit more of Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, and that game is still fun, it holds up. It's probably one of my favorite Star Wars games ever. I'm looking forward to the new things that they're going to be doing with the Star Wars franchise. And besides that, I played Dying Light with Taylor, and I think that's about it as far as what I did. Had a great Valentine's Day, but yeah.
well, Christian, on the heels of you having car trouble this week, I had car trouble this week. So mine was a little bit different. I was on my way to the doctor. Well, actually, I hadn't left yet, but I needed to leave to go to the doctor. And my grandpa pulls in, and he comes in like the garage door. I'm coming out, so I talk to him, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta leave, go. I was getting in the car, back out, and while I'm backing out, I always swing my car a certain way to get around my mom's car so that I can get out the driveway, and I heard a crunch, and I had backed into my grandpa's car without realizing it, and pocketed his door in. My bumper came out on top. I guess like the molding on it, like his door was not supposed to crack like that. It's just it was so cold outside that it just broke, and so I busted a little bit of my taillight, and then my bumper's fine as far as I know. Like when I checked it out, it was okay. And I mean, now I just got to either replace a door or try to fix it somehow. And my grandpa actually suggested just taking like NASCAR tape. It's like this really durable, like speed tape of sorts, and so it'll withstand that high wind and stuff, and just taping it up because that's all he cares about. So pretty sweet. We'll see what happens there. But I did that. That was a fun occurrence. So that's just crazy that happened to both of us.
I guess the only logical conclusion is to say that the devil hates the New Leaf podcast.
Yeah, it that can be said. The other things I did this week was my college started, so I've been working on my class a lot, and so been doing that, working, and I played some DayZ, and we may talk about that a little later in this podcast, but let's just say I've had some good time. But that's my week.
How about you, Tanner?
Well, nothing much except for I just bought a new helmet for Infinity Blade 3. Still, I'm cranking a lot of hours in that. And I just sold a figure. I just broke even for Mom buying me my Keep figure back and another figure. So, broke even on that.
Yeah,
And-
what
and
happened was...
it won't be sent to the customer until Tuesday because it's closed today and plus Monday holiday.
Hold on for a second here. Mom sold his figure that she wasn't supposed to sell. She posted it on eBay or whatever she used, and actually sold a figure of his that he was actually going to collect.
Oh, come on, Mom.
So she was like, "Oops!" And so then she had to buy another one. So that's what he's talking about when he said that Mom. We was talking about our mom there. So it was just a funny occurrence, but mom definitely helps him with the business side of it too. But yeah, that's sorry to cut you off, but that's what I was wanting to explain to the listeners who probably wouldn't have understood that.
Yeah, this is about Transformers, if your listeners wanting to know.
So is that about it for your week, bro?
I got new glasses. That's about it.
You got some hipster glasses?
I don't know what...
They're nice.
They're nice. Don't know what type of glasses these are.
They have a really cool looking F in them. Like it's...
And it's not for the bad
logo.
word. It's for...
Tanner.
No, it stands for fresh.
Why did I say that? I was trying to make it funny.
My little brother has a pair of glasses that on the inside they say #swag.
Oh.
Wow.
Nice.
Brothers. What?
So that's the first Twitter glasses.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
How about you, Taylor?
Well, I didn't really do anything. I played a lot of Dying Light and a little bit of DayZ. What else did I play this week? That's actually it. That's all I did was play Dying Light, actually. And I worked and worked out, of course. That's a must. But yeah, I beat Dying Light this week, and I also started playing the standalone Saints Row. They came out with the Get Out of Hell expansion, so I started playing that a little bit. But Dying Light was definitely my key seller this week. But
All right. One more thing I wanted to add on this week. I was on another podcast as a guest. The podcast is called Queued Up. It's put out by, it's kind of a secondary Everyday Gamers podcast, I guess you could say. It's run by Eric Bouchard, who is kind of one of the main guys on Everyday Gamers, and Travis Patterson, who, it's kind of like a recommendation podcast. You recommend games, music, books, movies, TV shows, kind of whatever, and you talk a little bit about why you're recommending those. So it was a really cool show. I had a good time. I was a little nervous to be on a podcast that's actually like pretty popular and good. So maybe we can get some
I
listeners.
bet that'd be a little intimidating.
Yeah, it was because like the Everyday Gamers podcast has been going on for almost 300 episodes, and like everybody knows those guys. So, but I had a good time, and looking forward to hearing that. It should be out today, I think, was what Eric was saying. So
Hey, we'll be there soon.
Yeah, the 15th, February 15th.
February 15th.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on from that, today we're going to talk about zombie games, since we've been playing a lot of Dying Light. It's kind of a subject that I've been thinking about. So to start off the discussion, we're going to list our top 3 favorite zombie games, or game DLCs, I guess you could say. So if we want to go ahead and go first, I have some feedback from Twitter that I've got also. Tyler, you want to go on? You want to talk about yours first?
Yes. My top 3, in no particular order, are Resident, DayZ, and Left 4 Dead.
Hold on, you lagged a little bit there.
Okay.
Start over.
All right. My top 3 are Resident Evil 4, Left 4 Dead, and DayZ. Should I expound?
Yes.
Or
Expound.
okay.
Yes, please do.
All right. So cut out the should I expound.
I'm not gonna cut anything out.
Yeah. So I love Resident Evil, even though Resident Evil 4, technically they're infected or whatever. They're not exactly zombies. They've got like,
they're zombies.
yeah.
Call them not zombies.
Yeah. It's they're infected by the Las Plagas, and it's pretty cool. Resident Evil 4 at the time was so like revolutionary and one of the kind of the best games that I had played. I read a whole bunch about it, but like on like EGM, Electronic Gaming, either monthly or magazine, I forget what it is. But I loved Resident Evil. Is one of those games where I don't usually like scary movies, anything like that. But Resident Evil, I just couldn't put it down. I had to beat it, and it was so much fun. And so that was one of my favorite games. And the graphics at the time were just so legit. Even though it was on a PlayStation 2 and also a GameCube, but I played on PlayStation 2. But yeah, so I love that one. And then Left 4 Dead, in my mind, is what started the zombie craze. And so I always put Left 4 Dead at the top of the in my like zombie list, because I just feel like it really was one of the first to break out and stand out as a good zombie game, especially for multiplayer purposes. And I remember lots of time spent being a zombie and trying to take out my friends, and then vice versa as the survivor. So that was a lot of fun. And then DayZ, even though I've only had it for like a week, it has been a blast to play, and it is just right up my alley. And I get to create, like go out, scavenge for things, and then help people out if I want to and stuff. And so it's a lot of fun, and the amount of skill involved it requires planning is the best way to describe it. You have to be careful with what you do. And so it's just a lot of fun, that thrill of you don't know what's around the next corner. It's pretty cool. And so like that's my 3.
Yeah, I would have to agree with. I mean, you kind of, at least for Resident Evil and Left 4 Dead, I feel like that would definitely be a lot of people's favorite zombie games. That really brings a lot of different kind of aspects of a zombie world into the picture. Both those franchises do, so.
Okay, do you want to continue? What are yours?
I didn't know if you wanted to go. Okay, I'll go.
I thought, yeah, go on.
I guess my top 3 are, well, you can credit this one to Tyler, but Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5, Left 4 Dead, definitely. And would you consider The Evil Within no, not really. I guess it's not a zombie game. No, it's not. What was I thinking?
don't know.
And I don't either. And I guess I want to say Dead Island, but it's not that I like Dead Island that much. It's just I like that kind of game, like Dying Light. And I really liked Resident Evil. I'm a big story guy, a big plot guy, even though most of the time I talk about how I like to just to shoot people. I also really enjoy a good story in a video game. And I felt like Resident Evil really had that. And it had a lot of replayability every time you played it. I mean, even in the old ones, you could do the whole game a certain way and you would get a special weapon. And then once you got the special weapon, you'd want to play the game again with it. And I also really enjoyed Dying Light since it just came out. But the free world experience of a zombie game, not just your linear, you have to go from here to point A to point B and there's going to be like a ton of zombies. I don't know, I just feel like open world zombies adds a new feel to it. Kind of Left 4 Dead. I guess I could have said Left 4 Dead too. I don't know. I just like every zombie game, I guess is what I'm coming down to.
That's not a very good opinion.
You did say Left 4 Dead though as well, so that was part of it.
Yeah. And I really enjoy zombie games. To me really bring you together, I guess, as a team, because that's what the whole thing is. You're trying to survive, and I really like games that try and unify the people together, because it's always some kind of like the totally different playing fields. Like this person is, type personality type A, and this one's type C, but everybody still has to come together to beat and achieve the final goal. I really like that in video games. It makes for a good plot usually. And you see that usually almost in every zombie game. There's never, there might be a few, but there's never a zombie game where you're like 4 cops and all you're doing is just a little squad and you just run around and kill zombies. In Left 4 Dead, everybody was different. Everybody was their own person, like different, upbringings and how they act at different ages. I don't know. I like zombie settings, I guess. So.
Well, I'm not really a fan of the Resident Evil series, mainly because of the combat. I hate games.
Because you suck at standing still and shooting.
Yeah, I hate games that make you do that. I can't play games like that.
Well,
I couldn't. That's why I couldn't play the first Dead Rising game, because there was this one. I remember this one sequence where.
Oh, the first and second Dead Rising, they both were like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, my top 3, and I didn't put Dying Light on this list, because it would be one of my favorite, but it's just so new. I wanted to talk more about ones that had came out previously. But I do really like Dying Light a lot. The diversity in the enemies and like the whole storyline of it, I think is really cool. But my top 3 were the Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare DLC. That just totally, I don't know if you guys played that.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was just something completely different from the main actual game. I just thought it was really cool to put that world inside of the game that's already been established. And then my second one would be Dead Space, which isn't, I guess it technically isn't a zombie game, but the enemies are zombie-like, where they'll take over, like somebody will die and they'll be taken over by the disease or whatever it is.
I don't know. That's close. That's a fine line between zombie and alien.
Hey, you know what? If you're gonna say that, then you know what? Halo's my favorite zombie game because the flood's the same thing.
Is it because of the flood?
Yeah.
Whatever. My third one was Dead Rising 3. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of the first 2 Dead Rising games. And Dead Rising 3, it didn't jump out at me because of the story or anything like that, but I feel like it was kind of revolutionary in the amount of
franchise.
Zombies. Yeah, it was like the amount of zombies it would put in the game. I still remember the very beginning of the game when you're running through the subway or whatever it is, and you climb up on an airplane and you look out, and the entire street is just absolutely covered in zombies.
Well, it's like a freeway, and there's 1,000 zombies probably. No joke, 1,000.
And just like getting the different vehicles and just mowing over just literally thousands and thousands of zombies like that. To me, in a big city, that's what a zombie apocalypse would be. You wouldn't have like a couple of zombies on a street. I mean, it'd be full of them in huge cities, like kind of like in The Walking Dead when they go to Atlanta in the first 1 or 2 episodes of the first season. But I did want to mention DayZ, and not only DayZ, but kind of the zombie survival games in general, because I think those are a little different than what zombie games have been in the past, where zombies are a part of it, but they're not really like the main threat. Your character, he gets hungry, he gets thirsty, so you're constantly having to find food. He gets cold, he can break limbs, whatever. So you have to do that as well as avoiding the zombies. Plus, you've got the other players that you have to worry about, where you're not sure if they're going to help you, if they're going to kill you and take your stuff, or if they're just going to do weird stuff to you or whatever. So that genre, there hasn't really been... I don't think there's been like a full release of a game that it does it as well as DayZ and like H1Z1. A lot of the survival games are doing it, but I think when those games start coming onto like the full release versions, then they'll be pretty revolutionary for the whole zombie genre.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see companies take that kind of on as their own child and try and make their own installment of that type of zombie game. There's survival, like you said, DayZ and H1Z1, because I know a lot of game companies that could make a very, very good survival zombie game just like that, I'm sure.
Dying Light is almost like it has a lot of those aspects, I think, of like you just kind of searching for stuff and just using whatever you can to survive. And it does have some like consumable stuff that you can eat and regain health, but it's not as intense as the DayZ or H1Z1 survival games are. But I'm really looking forward to the day when a game like that comes to the console. I don't really know about DayZ; it's kind of up in the air. But with the recent
H1Z1's coming,
yeah, with the recent news that Sony Online Entertainment has been sold to, and it's been rebranded as Daybreak Gaming, I think, or something like that. But they've been talking about their games coming to multiple platforms, including the Xbox One. So they make PlanetSide 2, H1Z1, EverQuest. So hopefully some of those PlanetSide 2 and H1Z1 for sure I would love to see on the Xbox. Tanner, did you make a list of your favorite zombie games?
Well, okay, I didn't know we were going to go 3. The major one, because this is kind of like, Mom told me no, I couldn't play. I could only watch Tyler play Resident Evil 4 for the PS2. I was too young, is what she said. And then later, it got ported to the Xbox 360, and I got that thanks to Tyler. And I played that for a while. I think I got stuck, but the only I like that game. I like Leon Kennedy, and I didn't like how they had to put something bad in 6, where that's where Tower told me he was trying to help me prevent my eyes. And
basically, Resident Evil 4 and 5 had a very distinct storyline. It was linear. But the gameplay was real solid to the Resident Evil series. But Resident Evil 6, there was 3 different campaigns, totally different kind of feel to the game. But they made it more action packed and also made it more what I feel like is to the crowd a little bit. Like they added in stuff that just didn't need to be there, overly.
Talking about
I think they sexed it up a little bit more.
Sexual stuff.
Yeah, I think they sexed it up a little bit more. I mean, that doesn't mean that the old ones didn't have it in it. It just, I felt like, I don't know. It's just as a genre and all. Everybody, like there's the problem that they're like, oh, I'm going to release this character in a bikini outfit, and I'm going to release this character in this and that and this and that. And
they just kind of threw it in there because the whole sex sells thing.
I think so. I mean, like there's like some drama to it, I guess. It's just in my opinion, there's no reason for nudity in a video game. And so, I just disliked it. And so once I got to the point where there was, I recommended that Tanner not continue playing it because of seeing stuff that is inappropriate. So we kind of switched on to other games.
I don't think there's...
That game was garbage. That game was garbage anyway, so...
Yeah, it was. Compared to, like, 4...
The only bad thing I don't like about 4 is the camera angle they did with the 360. That's the only downside problem I have with the camera angles.
So, like, coming from... What? Yeah, go ahead, Taylor, sorry.
No, go ahead, Taylor. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Like, I know me and Tyler played Resident Evil 5 together a lot, and coming from 5 to 6... I mean, I had a lot of expectation, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And it really, because I loved, like I said, I loved 5. Like, getting all the different guns you could get and, like that giant magnum that killed the zombies in one shot.
Yeah.
I loved using that thing and playing the game over and over again with that. And then playing 6, I was just like, I don't have the attention span to follow 3 storylines. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to play this. I just sold it, so.
With the amount of time I put into 5, like going to 6 was such a big disappointment. And while Christian hates the stand and shoot method, when you take that away, the game is just not near as intense. Like you're not standing your ground as the zombies are coming at you. Instead, you get to continually run like a scaredy pants girl or something. I don't know. Like you would like keep like crawling backward and shooting, and like it wasn't the same. Girl? Yes. That's what it is.
Yes, he is. That's what I'm calling you if he's not.
Scotty Ponce.
Okay, we're going Terminator here.
But that was a terrible Terminator impression. But
Scotty Ponce.
Scotty Ponce.
It's turbo time.
Scottish. Oh man.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. Oh wow, how far we have gotten sidetracked.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Resident Evil 5, just like you got to, there was a lot of emphasis put on standing your ground and helping your teammate out, and like there was this feeling that you're not going to survive. Whereas when they opened it up in 6, it's like the guns were more, they were more. I don't know if they were more powerful or what. It just like felt like there wasn't as much like item management, and I didn't have to worry about how many rounds I had, and I didn't have to like tactically kill people, like kill zombies. It was just like I just pump bullets into people, if I remember right on how I played it. I mean, it wasn't the same. So that's my rant.
Yeah. And Christian, the only other somewhat is borderline, maybe zombies, is the Lambent humans from Gears of War 3. Trying to...
Right, if Dead Space is allowed, I guess we can conclude Gears.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't play a lot of zombie games except for Resident Evil 4.
That's all right. That's perfectly okay.
All right. Well, we had some feedback from some people on Twitter because I threw this question out earlier today. And Eric, who I did the Queued Up podcast with yesterday on Valentine's Day, said that his pick would have to be probably Left 4 Dead 2. And I never played Left 4 Dead 2, but I did play Sorry. I did play the first one, and I liked that a lot. Had a ton of fun, many, many hours played on that game. And he threw out, as far as DLC, the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned from Borderlands. You guys remember that one?
Yes, that was good.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. He said something about it. But yeah, that was really, really interesting. And then
I love that character in Borderlands.
Then our other good buddy Scooter Dad, I threw out Call of Duty Zombies as an example. He said that he's a big fan of Call of Duty, but he said he didn't really like the zombie mode. Didn't really appeal to him. And that's same with me. I liked how they did it on the very first one, World at War, where it was just the one building, just trying to guard it. And when they changed it to where you're running around trying to turn on power and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, I don't know. I didn't like that as much. But
I mean, they had that in World of War too, just with the DLC maps.
Right. But I didn't like that.
Wow.
But the game. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the biggest complaint I had about World at War was that Left 4 Dead was out then, and I was like, why would you want to stay in a room when you can go and
Yeah.
I mean, the only way I played that game was like when we glitched it, and so you could like get to like higher rounds because the zombies wouldn't attack you or something like that. But I'm not gonna walk all over your time there. Sorry.
Anyways, the one that he threw out that he liked was Dead Island, which I've said before. I liked the atmosphere. I liked the co-op. I liked how it was put together, but I just did not like the combat at all, which they've done very, very well on Dying Light. So I'm more of a fan of Dying Light than Dead Island. But those are all the responses we got for that question. Our discussion topic that we want to talk about is the question of, do you think zombie games are being like overdone in the industry now? If so, what do you think they can change to make it interesting again?
In my personal opinion, I don't think that it's dying. Just because I don't think the zombie franchise would ever die, because I know that it's so easy just to put a random infection in some obscure area in the world and make that into a zombie plot, and people will play it and buy it and watch it and read it or whatever have you.
Because I was going to save this to a little bit later, but Eric, he answered that question too on Twitter, and he said, yes, he does think it's being kind of overused, because in his opinion, zombies are like the go-to easy enemies for developers. They're like, oh, we need a big enemy, let's throw zombies into the game and make that. So I definitely agree with that statement.
So I don't think it's really going to be going anywhere. I do think that some companies can do it and some companies cannot do it, and I think that they need to understand that and realize which ones they are, because the people who can put them out should make that their focal point, and then the ones that can't, I just don't know if they should ever try a zombie game in their life.
I think we're seeing too many of them. It's like every other game is a zombie game. And there are a few that stand out, like Left 4 Dead stands out because you could do, mainly for the multiplayer aspect, where you've got one human team as the people and then one human team as the zombies. So you don't really know. It's kind of different. It's not just like an AI zombie that you're fighting. Like there's a human on the other side, so they're kind of unpredictable, I guess you could say. And I mean, you can play with just the co-op, just human players versus AI zombies, but I think that's what made the game, is playing against human people behind the zombies. And then like Dying Light that we're talking about, where you've got the whole just totally open city that you're free running through, is something a little bit different than a lot of other zombie games. But most of them, it's just like, zombies are just there for you to shoot bullets into, and that's pretty much it.
No, I have to say, Left 4 Dead really put the survival aspect, like the word survival, in like to a survival game, because I mean, we've all played it, and if us three were playing and you guys ran off without me, I'm probably gonna die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that that's an aspect of, and that's even in the sense that's how DayZ is. I mean, if you're by yourself in DayZ and you don't group up with anyone, you're probably not going to make it that far. I mean, obviously you can if you find weapons and that kind of stuff, but still, in the long run, if you're not unified with a team, you're not going to make it. And I really think that's what a zombie game needs to be all about. And Dying Light kind of strays away from those kind of games, because I mean, you can make this sick, nasty, like long sword with fire and electric on it. And I mean, zombies aren't gonna kill you if you have that in your hand. So in a way, you could be a one-man army in games like that. But I really like the survival feel of Left 4 Dead and the way it forced you to play. Like if you didn't play the team, you're gonna lose.
Where you need
So I really
else, like watching your back.
I think the game's a lot more easy to be played like that. I mean, as I've done in DayZ, I've gone solo and stuff like that. And I mean, for me, I sneak around at a snail's pace and just go through every building and try to loot as much as I can. But the thing is, I don't have a reason to do it if I'm doing it for myself, because that gets so boring to me. Like, you guys needed food and stuff, and it was like, okay, I need to find food. So it didn't matter to me like what exactly was going on. I mean, I did grab stuff for myself, but like at the end of the day, I was like, I'm doing this for fun for a team. And like, I think that Left 4 Dead was one of the first games to effectively put four people in the situation of like communication, and like what they were doing was very beneficial to the team if they like stayed together and whatnot. And like, I mean, I don't know how many times I got sucked away by a smoker's like tongue or whatever, and then like I'm just like screaming for help the whole time, because if I get stuck by that smoker, I'm gonna start choking out and really get like hurt. And so like it requires somebody to aid me, because I can't get out of it myself. After there's like a point where you can, like right at the beginning, if you shoot the tongue right as you get hit, but if you miss that, then you're in trouble. But I feel like the survival instinct is definitely greater played. It's better utilized with more people. I don't know where
if something like that would happen like in real life, which many people are constantly like hoping and praying that it does. But if something like that were to happen in real life, I mean, you would have to have a group of people in order to survive. It's not like you can just get some stuff and run out and be this like unstoppable force just running through the world. I mean, you would have to have people to watch your back and for like protection and stuff like that. So the games that nail that, I think, are what the ones that stand out the best.
That's one of those things where like we don't look at it nowadays, but the survival instinct is like, for us, is like gone down. Like I don't think about if I walked outside and like got lost in the woods, like how am I making it home? Like I just don't think about that every day. But like putting it in a like zombie game or something like that, it actually makes you think about it, which is cool.
Yeah, because if you walked outside and got lost today, you'd be like, oh, I have GPS on my phone, I can use that. But so I think it's cool. I'm gonna go back a little bit just because a lot was said, but I'm gonna backtrack. Tyler, you were talking about how when the smoker would grab you in Left 4 Dead, and I love what that made the team.
Oh, everybody would freak out when that would happen.
Because like if you, because you would just be walking around and a hunter would pounce on you, and I know when I got jumped on, I started screaming like bloody murder because I wanted them off of me, and that I mean, I feel like that's how it would be in like a real zombie setting. If something jumped on me, I would start freaking out, and screaming, and everybody would try and, come and help me or do whatever. But
before it gets to your brains.
Exactly. Thank you, Tanner. But yeah, and that's one of those things that if a game doesn't have those factors that forces the team to really play smart, then I think it loses its survival aspect of the game. So it's things like that. I don't know. I'm all for zombie games that force you to work together. So I like games that make everybody work together. Well, like any game that does that. But really, it's zombie games because like I said, you can be that lone wolf and run out, and you can do that, Christian. I mean, and maybe in like a real world setting you couldn't do it, but in video games you can run out and grab something and come back. But there's always something out there, and it's only going to be so long
It's
before someone.
risk doing that.
Yeah, well, and it's only going to be so long before. There's going to be a group of 4 guys that come up on you, and you're done. You're not going to be able to kill them all. So, I mean, I don't know. I like playing as a team, so.
I think that going back to the question, like, is it dead and overused? I mean, Dead Island for me was one of those games where I played it. I don't know if I ever beat it, but I got really far in it. And for me, that game, it had some like cool things about it, but I didn't like it because personally, I don't like. I mean, you could use so many weapons. You could create things that like make them fart until they explode or something like that. Like I mean, that's a fake example, but there was literally stuff all like I know there was one like blade that when you like stunned them with it, their head would explode. Like it was really cool, the uniqueness of it. But I think that if the game focuses on just the killing of zombies, like Dead Island, I feel like it did. It focused on that a lot. That I don't like that style of game. I think that you really use up that if it you use up the intellectual part of it like so fast that it's really not a game.
Yeah.
As much
you need
anymore.
Like a higher purpose that you're aiming for rather than just trying to kill zombies. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And I feel like with that kind of game, I believe that it's very quick for that to just die off.
And that's why I like you said, I like Dead Island 1 a lot, and then when like the second installment came out or whatever, it was the same, Like I realized that after playing the first one, I was like, all I'm doing is just killing zombies with no purpose, and it just gets very boring and old quick. So I mean, I completely agree with that, but
I think it's difficult for me because I'm a real diehard like Left 4 Dead and like Resident Evil and stuff. Just because like in my mind that's the kind of origins of the whole gameplay stuff. But I just think that when I see it, every like Dying Light came out, and then like I checked Xbox 360 because I sent my Xbox in, as I said last week, and like there is tons of zombie games. There's like How Do I Survive and like all these other just weird.
Don't forget Plants vs. Zombies.
Well, Plants vs. Zombies is a very
that's a different story.
Well done, well
it's
done version.
more unique.
It's but it just I feel like there's too many. Like if you go onto your like app store on your phone, you can find a ton of zombie games.
It's definitely just totally overplayed on the mobile games.
I mean, I remember playing them on like addictinggames.com and stuff like that. Just like
like
zombies.
Yeah, like the old Flash games and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, all day. That's all I used to do.
Yeah, so I guess like just because I've grown up with it, I feel like it's been one of those things where I want to see something new. Like there's every now and again there's one that comes out that is just like, oh, this is good. I mean, like DayZ's that example. I really don't care much for zombie games, but DayZ's sweet. But at the same time, I look at it and I'm like, I want something else to break out and be the next zombie craze. Instead of it being zombies, like make it like Space Marine or, I don't know, just like something else, some new.
There's plenty of like, because zombies, it's kind of I guess you could say like a mythological idea. There's a lot of cultures. A lot of cultures have. Well, obviously, there's a lot of cultures that have that kind of in their legend as like these living dead creatures and stuff like that. A lot of cultures have that, but there's so many other things that you can do pretty much the same thing with. Like, I can't remember what the game was called, but there was like a werewolf game. They came out on the 360.
Wolf Among Us?
No. Legendary, I think is what it was called.
Yes.
Yeah, it was legendary. No, that game was sick.
That was so cool because it was. You had like
All
these
mythological like stuff that were. Yeah, it was. It was done by a bad company, but it was a sick game.
monsters. Yeah. Like I just wish there were more things like that. There's werewolves, vampires. Like those are kind of the big ones, but I'm sure there's other just more obscure monsters and things in different cultures, mythology that you can use.
Because I mean, like in Legendary, just because you talked about it. I mean, that was like the first time I ever saw a giant griffin tear some guy in half and like eat its insides, because that was just something I've never seen before. Because no one does stuff like that.
And it was challenging too. Like the enemies weren't just like cannon fodder, I guess you could say. It sounded like you're just blazing through piles and piles of them. Like they were difficult to fight. Like it was a big accomplishment when you finally killed a werewolf or whatever. You're like, yes, I finally did this. And so that's what made that different, rather than just seeing how many thousands of zombies you can kill. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I like games with originality, and so the only real problem I have is that zombie is so normal. Like it's so like in the game world, it's no surprise. And so that's what I was trying to say earlier, that I don't know if I've made my point clear enough, but it just the future of zombie games really is to focus on something other than the zombie at first. Like having a difficult zombie to beat or whatever, like, you know, one that I was listening to someone describe an enemy in Dying Light, but like they like chase after you and they're like seekers or something like that.
At the nighttime the guys come out and they are really difficult.
Like I like that. Like that's cool. It's just like I don't want the zombie part of it to be overlooked, where zombies aren't a threat and they're just cannon fodder. Yeah.
Because zombies are a threat. I mean, one zombie might be easy to take out, but if I was trying to kill a zombie, I would still be kind of scared. But zombie in numbers is how a game needs to be, in my opinion. And DayZ doesn't really do a lot of justice to that thought process, I guess, because one zombie runner.
DayZ is not really about the zombies. It's more about like seeing how long you can survive just against the elements, food, starvation, thirst, and then seeing how long you can survive against other players.
Yeah, well,
I disagree.
I bet I came across about 500 houses. Where are all those people at? Are they all zombies? Or they just all evaporate, or what? Because I'm pretty sure there should be a bunch of zombies running around.
That's the thing, that I think that the zombie in DayZ is a threat. It's just they're so I feel like the game, since it's not developed all the way, like I feel like there needs to be more zombies to be more of a threat. That it's hard to bring balance to a game where you just know, like, there needs to be a town or something like that where you can get into and have some peace, and like maybe there's a zombie or two, but the big cities should have zombies that are at least somewhat equal to what's in the town. Like DayZ's not about like mindlessly killing zombies. It's definitely about like sneaking in, grabbing your stuff, trying to leave, like trying to survive the encounter. And so
I'm sure that they'll add more zombies in the future, but right now I think the zombie AI is it's so buggy that if they put a bunch of zombies in it, it would be impossible to play the game, because they'd be running through the doors and lagging behind you and all.
But a lot more zombies would add to the survival aspect, because let's say you have a handgun and you have 7 rounds, and you have to either choose, do I save it for people or do I save it for zombies? And if you don't save it for the people, for the zombies, that means you have to run from the zombies, and that totally puts a whole different perspective on how you would play the game, I think, if there are more zombies.
I think the most zombies I've ever encountered in that is like 3 or 4 at once, and like
Yeah, I've had two.
I definitely was in a state of like freaking out, trying to get away from them. But I just remember like I was in a town and there was only like 1 or 2 zombies after me. I had at least irritated 3 of them, but I just like sprinted out of the town. I didn't look back. I needed food. I didn't care. I was gone.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that DayZ does well about it. That I think that the zombie is vital to the game as much as like the survival. What makes their game good is that you have to go eat, you have to go drink, so you have to go to the cities and to the places to get them. And that's where the zombies are. You just know you're in trouble.
Yeah, the
like,
zombies aren't out like in the middle of the woods.
Right. I mean, if they're there, it's kind of it's really going to scare you because you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
So what kind of, say the zombie genre sticks around for who knows how many years? What kind of, I guess we kind of played on it a little bit. You guys, in order for it to stay relevant, you want to see more of like a teamwork aspect, or maybe more like a survival aspect rather than just mowing zombies down. What other things do you think could a zombie game include that would give it a little bit more life?
It's funny you use those words, zombie in life, but I think that part of it is there needs to be, maybe it'd be cool to like be in a post-zombie world, like they're recovering from it or something like that, and they actually have a cure, and it's about trying to. I mean, you'll still have them. Like you have to survive, but at the same time, you have to actually try to like rescue like people. Like I don't know, like throw The Walking Dead into it a little. Just like the people that are there trying to like save people and stuff like that. But
that'd be interesting. Kind of more like an aftermath rather than just in the middle of it.
Right. There's something. There could be something new on the horizon. Either like
a new virus.
Yeah, like either like something else happens or something totally different. I just feel like there needs to be a change of scenery a little bit to where it's more effective.
I think it's cool to kind of just play on that to kind of see what maybe like political ramifications would be. You'd have like different groups kind of vying for control of government or whatnot, and maybe see like new nations rising up from like different outposts or whatever, where people banded together, and maybe like different groups of people fighting for control in this post-zombie world. Maybe you could have like a handful of areas where there's still zombies, but like you said, most of them could be like cured or dead or what have you.
I think that it would be really awesome to have a game set where the zombies are the normal people, like, and so like they've got their own police forces and stuff like that, but they're all just like, it's kind of like a Halloween town of sorts. They're out doing their own thing, like they have their own economy system. Like everything's normal in that sense, where we would think people would be doing it. It's just zombies doing it, and then have like some other threat or something weird come up to where you're playing as a zombie with like the problems that a zombie has built into it. Like you have to go get brains, or you're shooting a gun and your arm flies off because of the recoil. Just like something totally like out of nowhere that would be so much fun.
Out left field.
That reminds me of that movie that came out, I think last year around Valentine's Day. I don't remember what it was.
I know what you're talking about.
Where the zombie, it was like a zombie kid, and he meets this girl,
Mm-hmm.
and he like falls in love with her, and that like does something to his body to where it like wakes his brain up or something, and that's like the cure. But yeah, he's like he hangs out in this airplane. He's got like a record player, and he's like he's like narrating the movie to himself for most of the first part of the movie. And it's not till way later that you actually see like survivors, people running around trying to get stuff, and he's like trying to figure out what they're doing. But yeah, it's just he's a zombie and he's just going about his daily zombie life. I thought it was kind of a lame movie, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it
like
sucked.
a teen love movie, but the idea was really interesting, I thought.
I think that Shaun of the Dead, if you've seen that at the end,
I love that movie so much.
There's that. This is gonna be a spoiler alert, but
I haven't seen it, so.
Oh man! All right, I won't spoil it. But let's just say, once you see that movie, there is a great companionship that grows like within the zombie and person relationship. That's really funny towards the end of the movie. And
It's
so
like the last scene.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But that movie, you have to have a certain sense of humor to watch that, or else it's going to be the most dry. Like, you're not going to like the movie at all. But it's a great. I personally think it's hilarious. So there's more that needs to be brought into the. We need to think outside of the box in the zombie realm in order to like zombies in space. What would zombies do in space? That's what we need. Let's figure it out.
I would
like the scenario with what they set up for aliens versus predators, zombies versus aliens.
What if humans somehow found the technology to go to another planet? They go to a planet and they find this alien civilization that has been wiped out by a zombie apocalypse.
Dun, dun, dun.
and then they bring it back to Earth.
I just think, like, what if... I mean, aliens, that's another one that's kind of used a lot in games. What if you had alien zombies that you're trying to fight, like, on your spaceship or whatever?
Stop.
Stop.
And
I
then
think.
at the
while
end-
you're-
Oh my gosh.
I think that like we could have like a halo of thoughts on that subject. Actually,
Yeah, that's
Oh.
weird.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that
the thoughts are just flooding in.
I think boo. I think an MMO zombie type world would be cool. Like you're whatever, like you have like a little safe haven of survivors, and you're trying to get from, let's say, like Washington State to like Florida. I don't know, and it's just like open world, and you're trying to get there inch by inch, and it's survival, and I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That's right.
To play
I would like to see an
like the grind.
yeah, because
how MMOs are really grind heavy, where you're just killing tons of enemies. I think
Right.
that might be an interesting idea. Like you said, trying to like make your way across the nation or something. That would be cool.
and like maybe I don't know, because I feel like you could surpass enemies in a zombie game, like just run by them, but then later you would regret it. So you kind of have to, because if you don't level up far enough, then you're not going to be able to kill the big guys later. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Okay,
But-
I just had a really cool idea. What if in DayZ you die by zombie, you turn into zombie, and then you have to have the exact same survival mechanics but in reverse? Like, because you're dead, and now you have to go find the survivors and try to get them. I think that's
Interesting.
sweet. I think it'd be a lot of
The
fun.
map is so huge, though. It's hard to find players. I think would be an interesting idea for a game, though. Maybe if you condense the map size a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, DayZ just like the best example that I could give, but just having a world where maybe the zombies are you're the main character zombie, and just have survivors as the AI.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Kind of like Gears of War did Beast Mode.
Oh,
Where,
yeah.
it was the
You
exact-
play as the locust, and you try to attack the cog, and then you try to... You have to earn enough... I think it's I don't know, some points, and you get to be from, like, going from a grunt to all the way to, like, a berserker or corpus.
Yeah, like going from the bottom rank, just the normal guy, all the way up to the heavy boss like level.
Yeah, not Mira, but
I think that that reminds me. I think of one thing that Left 4 Dead got right was they did the random spawning of zombies. Like when you were a zombie, you actually spawned randomly as one. It's cool. But sorry, side note, we moved past that. But I think it'd just be a cool concept that maybe you die as a survivor, you come back as a random zombie, and you're able to play the game still. Because I think that would give a player more choice whether to, like, did they want to click and respawn or take
you
take
could choose like you could either continue playing as a zombie or respawn as a human.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
No, I think this is kind of off topic with the kind of game we're talking about, but in the new Call of Duty Advanced Warfare zombies, there's these zombies that try and kill you that are infected, and once you get infected, if you do not get like cleansed or whatever, like decontaminated within 60 seconds, your character will drop his weapons, and then you turn into a zombie and you start killing your own guys. And I thought that was pretty interesting. But
it sounds like you go from a zombie, like Banner goes into Hulk. What it sounds like.
Bruce Banner going into the Hulk.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like, oh, if you get infected by a zombie, you turn into like a zombie killer. And that sounds like you're turning into Hulk.
Zombie.
Yeah.
No, you just turn into a regular old zombie. He just like turn against your guy. Like if you're infected, like let's say us three were in a room.
We're in a room.
Okay, and then I'm about to get infected in like 5 seconds, and I get infected, and then I'm in the back of you guys like shooting zombies. Then I turn into a zombie right behind you, and then I start killing you guys. It's just like I just turn into a zombie. I don't know. It's pretty
Traitor.
interesting.
The only thing is, I don't like instant change in that form. Like, I feel like it'd be more like in movies and stuff. They kind of do like the character development, and they get infected, and then over time they like slowly change. I feel like it needs to be a little bit quicker for game purposes, but at least like be able to continue. You can either choose to continue to help your like team, or you don't even know you're infected, and you just got hit or something like that, and you like slowly start to like bleed out or something, and all of a sudden it like happens, which I think that would be pretty cool. Just a good plot twist.
That would suck if you were just playing and your guy was started like moping around and you didn't realize you were infected.
What's going on?
You just turn into a zombie and stuff.
Yeah, the guy would probably have an awkward moment and just like freak out.
It'd be cool to like give characters that get hit like have like random problems, like maybe you start to like lose your vision, or you start losing like your sound on your TV, or because you're losing your hearing or something to where it would affect you in a way that you wouldn't know if you're like infected or I just got hit with this, and like it would change the dynamic of how your team had to help you. Like if you I don't know, like maybe you could like find a way to like have your hand on somebody's shoulder if like you go like blind or something like that, or you're losing your vision. That way you can still kind of hold on, and like the goal is like just to get all four of you across the finish line, kind of like Left 4 Dead or something. I think that'd be a cool twist. Because I can just think of like Rainbow Six Vegas or something like that, or the new Siege that's coming out.
Siege, yeah.
Just seeing that with zombies would be hilarious. In my opinion.
That brings up a good, like, an interesting idea. Like, where pretty much all zombie games, if you as a player get downed, you're in like a last stand mode or whatever, and your teammates can revive you or you die. So instead of just dying and you're a zombie, or your teammates revive you and you're just boom, you're back up like same as before. Like you can, like you said, you can get blinded, you can lose your hearing, you can lose ability in your legs, or you're like limping to where it's not just like you're either dead or you're perfectly fine. where you can be
You're
impaired.
like in the middle.
Yeah, you can be like impaired, so that would really encourage the teammates, and your team could choose to like try to carry somebody could like carry you on their back or just leave you and continue, let you die.
I think that one of the things that would have to be addressed is once you turn, if like you're in a game where let's just use Left 4 Dead, instead of dying and being dead, like you come back as a zombie. The only thing that you'd have to make it so like that you can't have friendly fire on or something like that. That way, like you're not aiding them. Like after you, like I think if that could be implemented, I think that while you were talking about that stuff, it brought up like I feel like DayZ has those elements hidden in theirs. Like you can make a splint and stuff like that if you break your leg. I just think they don't utilize it very well right now. It's easy to talk about DayZ just because it's an alpha and it can change.
Right. I think we've had a good discussion. If you guys don't want to add anything, we can go ahead and move on.
I think I'm about opinioned out with zombies.
Out.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like talking about first-person shooter.
We can go on for hours. What is our next topic?
We don't have a next topic. We'll say goodbye.
Okay, that's what I thought too. I was just like how you sounded it. I was like, I don't think that's how we're supposed to end this, but I don't know.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
So, what is our topic for next week?
We don't really have a topic for next week, but if you follow our Twitter at the New Leaf Crew, I usually will tweet out what we're going to talk about, and you can throw your 2 cents in. I'll try to get it out there a little bit earlier this week, so more people have the opportunity to see it and respond. But, yeah, that's our official Twitter account for the podcast. You can also email us at thenewleafcrew@gmail.com. And you can find my personal Twitter at McJeston. It's McJeston. And that's the best way to contact me. You can play with me on Xbox One. My gamer tag is SOG space McJeston. Or Steam, I'm on there a good bit as well, and that is just McJeston. Where can the good listeners find you, Taylor?
You can find me you can find me on Steam at SwitchfootFan94.
I don't think that's your Steam name.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
It's my name is Taylor 94.
All right.
Yeah,
You're right. Okay, I got found out. Okay. But yeah, my name is Taylor 94. I don't really play Steam a lot unless I'm playing DayZ. But I hope to start getting on there more. As I found out last night, if I'm by myself and I join a server with like 38 people, it's really fun. So, but you can also find me on Xbox at TaylorMade Space 1994, and that's about it for me.
All right, you can find me at Xbox with Forgiven Sniper. It's just Forgiven space SN1PER, and I am also on Steam at the exact same thing, so it's pretty easy to find me, hopefully. And then I believe that, if I remember right, the Facebook is New Leaf Podcast, and you'll be able to look out for updates there, and possibly we'll post the test question. We'll post the question, whatever it may be, to the Facebook as well, and hopefully look forward to getting discussion in on that.
Hi, my name is Tanner, and you can find me on Xbox, TanTheMan13. My brother will help you because the spelling has numbers in the middle, and I forget the numbers. So,
yes, I will try to make it a goal this week to post our all of our gamer tags and aliases and stuff like that onto the Facebook, and that way everybody can come hack our accounts and all that good stuff. But
right.
and filled us with messages.
Yeah, so hopefully.
Please do. I don't know how. I don't know if it's. I don't know if people are listening or what, but my friends list on Xbox is I have like 98 friends and I have like 140 followers now. And I don't know why.
No, nobody's listening to the podcast, so you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay. Good.
As Christian coined, the other podcast sucked. Listen to this one in the last Facebook update.
I know.
I was like, oh, okay, thanks. All our hard work down the drain.
No, I was just talking about the technical issues that we were having. But last week was a good episode. I think this is another good one. But hey, before we leave, I almost forgot. Do we want to share a DayZ story that happened this week?
Oh, I feel like we must.
Go ahead. Right. We'll see how much of a laugh we'll get out of it.
I was laughing in the chat.
Christian, you'll have to.
Mm-hmm. Me and Tyler found each other on DayZ. We're waiting for Taylor to catch up. So we're just running around this town, gathering supplies, whatnot, and I'm just kind of hanging out on the road. I see somebody running up, so I think maybe it's Taylor. So I run up, start talking to him. Turns out that it's not Taylor, it's somebody else. And this guy's character is a female. So he's standing there, he's like, hey, how's it going? At first he has a weapon in his hand, so I'm not really sure what he's doing. And he doesn't really have a whole lot of gear. He's just got like a shirt and pants and whatever. So while he's standing there talking to me, he's like, hey, you like this? And he takes his pants off and throws them on the ground. I'm like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, all right, how about this? And he throws his hat on the ground, and he's like, oh, yeah, you like this hair? And then he puts his hands up in the air. It's one of the gestures you can do in the game. And he starts crouching up and down, like teabagging. He's like, yeah, you see how I can twerk? I'm pretty good at twerking. I'm sitting there laughing my head off, and I'm like, Tyler, get up here and look at this guy. So Tyler runs up, and he just runs up. He's like, hey, what's going on over here? And we're just like, oh, nothing's going on. And while this is happening, I hear this noise. I'm like, what in the world? Because I haven't heard this noise in the game before. So it takes me a second to realize that this is something new. And I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I see a truck just like barreling up the road. And this is the first time I've seen a vehicle. It's just recently been added to the game. So I freak out. I'm like, and it's pretty close by this point. So I turn around, I'm running to the other side of the road. I'm like, Tyler, I don't even know if you understood what I was saying, but I just start screaming something. And I turn around, just in time to see Tyler get run over, just absolutely destroyed by the truck. Tyler, what was going through your head at this point?
The wheels.
Roadkill.
Yeah, from my side of it, because I'm like, what is this guy doing? Christian's like, dude, Tyler, come over here. This guy's like taking off his clothes. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, all right. So Christian's like, dude, come take us hostage. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'm really not good at this, but I'll try. So I walk out there, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, why are you taking your clothes off? That's sick. Like, and which I still stand to today. I would say the same thing. But so I'm just like, dude, that's sick. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is weird. Like, what is going on here? And by the time I hear this noise in the background, and I'm like, that sounds like a vehicle. Like, that's a loud, like an engine. But I was like, maybe it's just the like the building that I'm standing next to. It has like a generator or something like, it's just running. So I didn't like think too much about it. All of a sudden, I hear Christian say, "Tyler, look out! There's a truck." And so I start to turn, and my I guess I accidentally hit space bar or something, and so my guy like brings up his weapon, so it basically slows me from doing anything to like a standstill. And so I like turn, and I'm like halfway through my turn to turn around to look at where the truck's at, and then I just my screen goes black and says, "You are dead." And so I was just in shock. It was a very funny. Like I didn't even like I had so much gear that I had collected. Like I was like well off in the DayZ world, and Especially since like I haven't played the game very long, but I had accumulated enough stuff. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty sweet. I'm actually getting somewhere. And then all of a sudden, it's gone in an instant, and it's just so funny because I would have never in a million years expected to get ran over. And just it was so funny. Just now that I look back on it, I don't know if it was a setup or not, but it was very funny.
It was for sure a setup because right after
Christian's voice, your voice was like, oh, Taylor, it was so funny. I never heard your voice like that. It was so weird.
Right after he gets run over, the guy in the truck backs up. The other guy that's taking his clothes off in the street runs over to Tyler, grabs all his gear, jumps in the truck, and they take off. So I'm like, oh, seriously? So I start running after him, like, hey, wait, give me a ride. Give me a ride. And they stop a little ways outside of town, and they both jump out. And I'm like, what are they doing? Just one guy's like laying on the ground. So I run up. All of a sudden, one guy pulls out a shotgun. I'm like, oh, no. So I'm running around telling him, don't shoot me, don't shoot me. And he just destroys me.
Oh, that reminds me. I respawn, and I go back to the scene of the crime, and I saw the truck at first. It was headed back toward Electro. We were in the next town over. And so I, like, hid for a minute the scene of where Christian died. And I actually found a shotgun and was able to pick it up, and it had not been hurt at all in what had happened. So I like walked out that day with a shotgun that I had originally been carrying, and I was very happy. So it ended up like working out well for me. If you can just, being ran over and losing all your stuff and getting things stolen.
If that is in your realm of working out for you.
Yes, exactly.
It worked out for you.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like to get ran over?
Grandma loves getting ran over by a reindeer every Christmas Eve. So
And they always play the song.
and then
That's it.
Yeah, no.
I'll turn next month's call. I'll turn next month's call.
There's Christian's car that got ran over by a deer the other.
That is true too, though.